A warm welcome to TV Africa News and thank you for joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Najima Lima, but first are the headlines. Concerned MPs meet to discuss how to defend African culture. Medipol Hospital offers free surgery for 7-year-old child with a strange disease on the head. Malawi on the lookout for a new football manager. Welcome once again. Now the news in detail. On Friday, the Minister of Information and ICT, Chris Baryomunsi, launched the first inter-parliamentary conference on family values and sovereignty at Imperial Golf Hotel. The three-day conference was attended by delegates and legislators from over 23 African countries. We have more. At the conference, the Minister of Information and ICT, Chris Baryomunsi, said they will remain focused on protecting the values of Uganda and her citizens by maintaining the stand on the recently passed Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023. The bill is yet to be assented to by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Baryomunsi added that in his career as a medical doctor, homosexuality is not natural, adding that it is not right that someone should argue that they were born a homosexual and that there is nothing they can do about it. On the second day of the conference, a delegation led by Sarah Opendi, the Member of Parliament for Tororo and Chairperson Uganda Women Parliamentary Association, met President Museveni at State House and tabled resolutions that were discussed. Museveni cautioned all African countries to resist yielding to the pressure from the European Union to accept immoral values. During the conference, legislators resolved that all African religious leaders should come together to address challenges affecting families and traditional cultures in Africa. The president of Tunisia, Kais Saied, has used his first public appearance in nearly 2 weeks to criticize opponents who were questioning the state of his health.
The president of Tunisia, Kais Saied, has used his first public appearance in nearly 2 weeks to criticize opponents who are questioning the state of his health. In a video posted online, the president described speculation that he was ill as utterly crazy and accused the opposition of trying to create a crisis. Coughing occasionally during the address, he said that a power vacuum was not created if he caught a cold. President Saied has ruled by decree since seizing power in 2021 and last year forced through a law giving his office unlimited powers.
East African regional forces have announced that they are now in control of Bunagana, a strategic town in eastern DRC previously held by M23 rebels for more than 9 months.
The spokesman for the Ugandan contingent of the regional force, Captain Kato Ahmed Hassan, confirmed that M23 rebels had been cooperative during the transition process. The rebels' departure from Bunagana has been a key demand during several rounds of mediation efforts on the crisis in eastern Congo, where more than 120 armed groups have been fighting for land, power and resources, and some to protect their communities. Ugandan troops, which are part of the East African Community Regional Force in eastern Congo, will now try to bring about M23's sequenced withdrawal from other areas under rebel control, including Chiwanja and Mabenga.
Let's take a quick break. We shall be right back. An exhibition with 181 objects from the Kingdom of Pharaoh Ramses II opens this Friday at La Grande Halle de la Villette in Paris. Among the objects on display until September 6th is the restored funerary mask of Egyptian King Amenemope. According to Dominique Farut, a curator, it was an absolutely extraordinary object, extremely fragile, extremely well restored because originally the mask was sitting on a wooden core that disappeared. He added that they had to rebuild the support without damaging the gold leaf. The collection is one of the most impressive displays of ancient Egyptian culture ever exhibited in France, illustrating the pharaonic grandeur of Ramses II with spectacular and immersive installations. Some of the objects are over 3,000 years old and are being exhibited for the first time outside Egypt. According to an old Egypt expert, Benedicte Loyer, they have some fairly notable examples of the jewelry that could be found in the Middle Kingdom. In other words, in the classical period of ancient Egypt, which is around 2000 BC, and it's the golden age of the type of jewelry called cloisonne. He added that this meant that they have a whole network of gold leaves in which gems are included, for example, turquoise, lapis lazuli, amethyst, stones that were considered by the Egyptians to be eminently precious. In 2019, an exhibition dedicated to Tutankhamun attracted more than 1.4 million visitors. Moving on, President Ali Bongo had been widely expected to announce his bid for a new term at celebrations to mark the 55th anniversary of the ruling Gabon Democratic Party in Libreville on Sunday. Instead, the 64-year-old discussed a stroke he suffered in 2018, which kept him out of the country for months.
Gabon's President Ali Bongo told his party faithful that he was determined to continue the work he started in 2009. According to Bonga Roger, a member of the party, certain arrangements had to be made within the party and outside it so that when the time comes, the president would declare it officially if that was the case. Bongo took over from his father Omar in 2009, continuing his family's rule over the oil-rich Central African country. During his hospitalization for a stroke in Morocco, Bongo survived a coup mounted by junior army officers in January of 2019.
The leader of South Africa's largest opposition party was reappointed on Sunday as head of the Democratic Alliance. Speaking after being reappointed, John Steenhuisen called for a united opposition and presented himself as the alternative for the country. According to John Steenhuisen, leader of the Democratic Alliance, this is no longer about politics, but rather is about the survival of democracy and the survival of South Africa. Steenhuisen added that the truth is that South Africans no longer expect the Democratic Alliance to be an opposition party only, let alone just one party among many, but expects them to step up and be the leader of the alternative government in South Africa. More than 2,000 delegates of the Democratic Alliance gathered over the weekend at a congress near Johannesburg. South Africa holds general elections in 2024. The ANC, in power since 1994, has been losing ground at the polls for the past decade. Democratic Alliance delegate Imran Keka added that they are ecstatic that John Steenhuisen has been elected as leader of the Democratic Alliance. The ANC faces growing discontent fueled by endemic unemployment, rising inequality, and a severe electricity crisis that leaves some 60 million South Africans without power for up to 12 hours a day. In our business news today, a falling local currency, salary arrears payments, and war have pushed up prices in poor Democratic Republic of Congo, leaving locals struggling to afford basics.
Since the new year, the Congolese franc has depreciated about 15% against the US dollar, according to official figures and money changers, hitting the poorest hardest. Several people interviewed by the media say that in some cases, prices had risen much higher, doubling or more. The price hikes follow increased government spending to battle the M23 rebel group, which has captured swathes of territory in eastern Congo since last year. Add global inflation and an economy reliant on imports and US dollars, and many Congolese are feeling the pinch. 2,000 Congolese francs usually trade for $1 US. The exchange rate has risen to more than 2,320 francs per dollar, according to the latest central bank figures. About two-thirds of the DRC's population of 100 million people live on less than $2.10 a day, according to the World Bank.
In our health news today, Medipo Hospital in Kampala has offered free surgery services to a 7-year-old child who has lived with a strange disease on the head for 4 years. We have more on this report. Emmanuel Lopriang, a son to a single mother from Kotido district, first appeared on social media with a strange illness that had eaten up his head as he lived with the disease for 4 years. On Monday, Medipo Hospital CEO Dr. Adnad Khan announced they had successfully carried out the surgery on Lopriang's head. He said that the boy was suffering from a chronic wound which had grown big over the years. Dr. Khan said the surgery was carried out free of charge as the hospital responded to concerns on social media to have the 7-year-old child get treatment. The Medipo Hospital CEO said the boy's mother will also need psychosocial support as a result of the stigma from her community. And finally, with our sports news today, Malawi is looking for a new head coach after the Football Association announced it was not renewing the contract with Mario Marinica. Story by Humza.
Behind the decision is last week's defeat 4-0 to Egypt, which leaves the Flames with little chance of reaching next year's Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast. Malawi finished third in Group D with 3 points, behind Guinea and Egypt, both with 9 points. The Romanian coach started as technical director in 2021 and led Malawi to the last 16 of the Africa Cup of Nations for the first time at last year's tournament in Cameroon, where they were beaten 2-1 by Morocco.
That was the news. Thank you for always keeping it TV Africa. Please do stay tuned.